So when I started, I think in 2019, it was actually a lot more difficult for women.
Alright, Shane Debrief here again at Token 2049. Today we are here with Pamela Lee, Head of APAC Sales at Talos. So, tell me about Talos. What is Talos?
Talos, we are a bilateral trading platform that gives you a single point of access to the entire ecosystem of the institutional players in the whole digital asset space. So we have two main trading products. One is our principal UI, which is our main trading platform that a lot of buy-side guys, hedge funds, asset managers, and family offices use. And the other side is actually our white label solution, which caters to a lot of sell-side service providers like exchanges, wallet payment service providers, and banks, right? So the idea behind it is really giving the umbrella of tools that people use to interact with equities in FX, the same way that they can interact with crypto. Because generally in our company, a lot of our background comes from capital markets. That's how we understand the markets, and we want traders, we want institutional providers to be familiar, and we need that safety and resiliency as we know how volatile crypto markets are, and you need that built into your systems. And the test of any true systems out there is when the markets are volatile, to be honest. So I think we wanted to build that for a lot of our institutional clients, and that's where we see our sweet spot is, and that's where we are comfortable building.
Okay, so tell us, from what I understand, you guys are offering some of a plug-and-play solution for institutions wanting to offer digital assets. So how do you see yourselves changing the space as a whole?
I think first you have to really understand the market structure for crypto, how it's very, very different from a lot of other asset classes. I think first thing to note is that in crypto, everything is very fragmented, right? When you talk about trading, you need to find the right custody solutions you want to work with. You need to find the right liquidity providers and exchange dealers to work with. And that means you need to handle a lot of different vendors, right? And if I'm a trader, I want to work with digital assets. I need to have different screens that I need to multitask, for example. And Talos really changed this whole structure, because on Talos we become that single point of access where you get access to everything on just one screen itself, and that really powers up a lot of things. Because when you talk about getting best execution, that's where we aggregate all the liquidity across exchanges and OTC dealers. When you talk about reducing operational risk, right, and that's where you can manage your transfers, you could look at your funding balances, treasury management across all your accounts and things like this. And then there's a lot of future roadmap that we are building, talking about lend and borrow marketplace, talking about risk management tools. I think there's so much we can do, and a lot is actually feedback from clients that what they want us to do, and then we try to implement on that platform, because clients just want to do everything, and they get so sticky to our platform now that they just want us to, hey, can you do this, can you do that, and we really try our best to really add that into our roadmap.
Oh, that's really good, focusing on the feedback loop itself. And okay, so as the head of APAC Sales, what's your day-to-day like?
Well, I actually don't know what my next day will look like until I look at my calendar. But generally, I think now that it's really work from home hybrid, I'm a working mom myself, so I have a 15-month-old son. So I actually spend early in the mornings, about 7 to 9, spending time with him. And then I'll head to work, to the office, depending if I have meetings at the day itself. And then really back-to-back calls, and then squeezing in some time for coffees with clients, chatting with my colleagues and things like this. And then because headquarters in US, so we do have quite a bit of night calls, but I also try to end my day about 5 to 6 earlier, so that I can rush back home, put my son to sleep again, and then start my day at night for US calls. Yeah.
Well, so basically day to night. Okay, and what do you think are the biggest challenges the entire crypto industry has to face as a whole right now?
Few things, right? Number one, which is a common theme I think a lot of people talk about, which is risk management. I think you have to have risk management tattooed on your arms these days, because everyone is talking about it. So I don't think it's anything new. I think what it's important is really understand what you are dealing with. And I think Talos as a system itself, I think that's also where we get the most client feedback from. How can they manage risk better using our own systems, right? And I think that's also one of it. And as a retail, I think one thing is also knowing how to signal noise from facts, right? The problem with crypto is crypto started out from retail. If you think about it, it's really different from a lot of other asset class like equities and FX, where it started out from institution, right? So a lot of market news that you get, a lot of systems that you get, they might not understand how complex this asset class can be in real life. And a lot of times, where do you get news? You get from crypto Twitter, right? And whether it's real news or fake news, I think as a retail, you yourself need to really do your own due diligence, really check to make sure that it's real news before you make that decision whether to invest in that project. Yeah, so I think you know how to signal between the noise and facts and then do your own due diligence.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, filtering all the noise, and I mean, if you're getting your financial advice from Twitter, then I mean, you're doing something wrong. All right, so I think one pressing issue we have right now in the whole crypto blockchain space is that there seems to be like a disparity between percentage of men and women. There's like a gender disparity in the whole space. So what are your thoughts on that?
I actually think it's a lot better now because I've been in the crypto space for about 3.5 years. So when I started, I think in 2019, it was actually a lot more difficult for women because I don't come from a tech background. I came from finance, and generally if you think about women, it's very difficult to engage in a new technology. Just day-to-day life. Don't talk about having a career on top of something called blockchain, right? Which is the basis of crypto, right? So I think that's really very difficult. And when I started, it's all about reading and talking to people. That really helped me a lot in this industry. And I think actually now, if you think about it, with something like token, right, it's actually welcoming because you see the number of women that are actually attending compared to 2 years ago when you don't have so much of such conferences in Asia. You don't have so much webinars to focus on digital asset. You don't have so much associations like the Blockchain Association, which I'm part of as one of the volunteers for the Women in Blockchain group, right? I think a lot of such avenues are helping a lot of women to enter in this space. So I think it's a really, really good sign. So I think definitely there's still disparity, but I think it's getting a lot better. And I think just in Talos itself, we do have a lot of very, very good women in our organization. In general, we always look at gender equality in terms of hiring and trying to make sure that we make a wise decision in that. Yeah.
Okay, so I think recently with all the Black Swan events like the 3AC, Luna, we've seen like institutions still doubling down on digital assets. Why so? Why do you think that they would still be interested in digital assets?
I think if you look at the market right now, right, institution, the difference is they have a longer term horizon strategically. They know that markets go up and down. So I think even though if it's crypto winter, as you think about it now, 1 year ago when we talk to institutions, they'll be like, hey, Bitcoin is like 60K, it's too expensive, I'm not going in because I don't think the market value is there. But now it's about maybe 20K, and then they'll be like, hey, it might be a much more reasonable value, and I believe in the underlying, I believe in the asset class, and then I know that in long term there's so much potential to that. So I think that's the difference between institutions and retail, and also that's why I think a lot of times actually in crypto winter itself, it is actually the biggest quarter for Talos in terms of closed contracts with a lot of institutional players, because last year a lot of them have dedicated teams already started for digital assets, and this is not going to go away even though people are saying it's crypto winter. In fact, it's actually the best time to build in bear market because a lot of them are placing more resources that they didn't have the time to do when it was the bull market, right? And now they are actually trying to think how they can improve their processes, how they can improve their trading strategies, how they can improve their customer experience for their clients by using someone like Talos to really help to achieve some of the expectations and standards they want the market to be. So I think definitely we are very aggressive, we are very optimistic about the future.
Okay, so how's your experience so far at Token 2049?
I think it's really great. I mean, it's been so long that we have a physical conference. I think in Singapore itself, Token has always prided itself to be one of the premier events in Asia. I think the last Token I went for is actually in Hong Kong. I think that was in 2019, right? Because I used to work in Hong Kong for 3 years, and now that it's in Singapore. I think the good thing that is in Singapore is you really attract very international crowd. Looking that so many people didn't get the chance to travel into Asia for the past 2 years, so everyone is traveling for token itself. I think just looking at the lines that people are queuing just to get the tickets on the first day when I came, I think that's a true testament of how successful the conference are. I think even when we are hosting this booth at Token, we do see a lot of clients that we haven't met, that we were just having calls on Zoom, and then now we have a chance to really speak to them face to face. I think that really helps a lot, and I think the energy is great. They really spend a lot of time inviting very, very good quality speakers, very good quality content. I think that's something a lot of conferences actually didn't really spend much time in doing it, because it's a lot of introductory topics, and what we want really for good conferences is really being able there, not just hosting booth, right? You also want to learn, right? And going for such topics, listening to the speakers and some of CEOs of very, very big companies. I think, I really enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, we see the human interaction, right? And what's your favorite part of going for conferences, aside from the free drinks?
Favorite part, I think it's really meeting people, because generally I'm very busy myself in terms of having to manage family and work. So I don't really have much time for social life, right? So going for conference actually is an excuse for myself to actually meet for people. Like probably I don't have time to catch up for drinks, and then we can actually catch up during the conference itself. Just go for that any after events or side events to meet people, to catch up and things like that. It doesn't always have to be work, I think, but really I think in crypto, what I like about crypto as well, it's all about collaboration, right? We think about partnership, we think about helping each other in terms of how we expand the business and things like this, and then a lot of them actually turn out to become some of my best friends in the crypto space, and we learn from each other, to be honest. So I think that's also something I really like for conferences, actually.
Wow, that's a really good answer. And before we end, for companies who want to be a client of Talos, how can they do so, and what should they look out for?
So I think if you are a buy-side fund, having your own systematic quant fund, medium trading frequency strategy, or family of asset managers, come speak to us. We have our website. You can request for a demo to our team. And if you are a sell-side service provider, like you are looking to build an exchange or like a wallet payment service providers, I think also speak to us. I think it's easy to open an account with us. We actually spin up an environment for you to really test it out, to make sure that we are the right system or infrastructure for you. I think that's what we do. If you are someone that's looking to start your own trading desk, I think you need to first understand who you want to use for custody, who you want to use for liquidity providers and dealers. And once you figure that out, I think having a good trading infrastructure that can tie everything together, I think that's very important.
Yeah, great answer. You heard it here first, Pamela Lee, Talos. Thank you so much, Pamela. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.